In fact, it's going to be cloudy and cool all day, even all weekend long, but we desperately need the moisture. We'll start off this morning with temperatures in the 40s, cloudy and cool with rain showers possible throughout the day. Let's start with a live picture and get you up to date on what's happening outdoors. The Tech Center Colorado Cam Network showing us this vantage point, and we've had some fog even out at DIA, so reduced visibility if you're doing some traveling. Nothing too severe, but something to be aware of. 48 degrees right now at DIA, 49 downtown. Humidity right now 93%. The barometer is on the rise. West winds coming at 5 miles an hour. We expect them to turn around. So northeasterly winds expected and upsloping will help increase our cloud coverage and produce some showers. The metro area numbers look like this: 40s, even some 50s showing up to the east, 30s closer to the foothills and in those higher elevations. As we get into the afternoon hours, we won't see a whole lot of warming from these numbers, maybe adding about 10 degrees for the most part. 40s and 50s right now, northeastern Colorado, 60s lingering down. Southeastern plains extremely warm yesterday in the middle 80s, and so they're starting this morning off very warmly. Trinidad at 65 right now, 42 for Alamosa, and the western slope starts with numbers in the 40s and 50s. Doppler radar not showing a whole lot of the moisture that we do have in the atmosphere, but it's there. In fact, it will stay in place, and later this afternoon we'll get those showers going, and we should get a good soaking, maybe a quarter of an inch possible in some northeastern Colorado locations. Satellite showing some of the clouds moving over northeastern Colorado. Even the northwestern corner of the state should get a chance for an isolated storm or two. But down to the south, staying warm and dry pretty much throughout the entire weekend. Only isolated risks of thunderstorms in that portion of the state. Everyone else looking for those rain showers to linger today, even into the Mother's Day holiday tomorrow. Will be on the cool side with rain showers possible. Latter part of Sunday will start to clear out. Front range numbers: 56 for both Cheyenne and Fort Collins, 57 in Greeley, 59 in Aurora. Evergreen 53 today, Bailey 52, 54 in Georgetown. You can see just about everybody's going to be in the low 50s once we get closer to the foothill areas. Forecast for the entire state: hot spots down in Pueblo and Lamar, 57 for Gunnison, over onto the western slope, places like Grand Junction at 70 degrees today, 73 down in Cortez. Close-up look at the Denver forecast for you. A high of just 58, so we're a touch below normal for this time of year. We'll look for afternoon showers and an overnight low of 40 degrees. Scattered rain staying with us. The 7-day forecast keeps us in the 40s pretty much all week long. 62 tomorrow, 70s for the rest of the week. So not a bad deal. We get the moisture on the weekend, and then we'll stay fairly mild. Doesn't look like it's going to be extremely hot next week. This rain is not enough to get us out of the drought scare, but it is a step in the right direction.
And we have an excuse for putting off the mowing of the lawn. Sounds good. Thanks, Amy.
Like that. We'll see you in a bit.
We're going to have a cloudy, cool day, even a bit of rainy day around here in Colorado. The traveler's forecast, if you're headed out west, beautiful, gorgeous sunny skies, temperatures in the 60s and 70s for places like Salt Lake City and San Francisco, 94 in Phoenix. Out to the Atlantic seaboard, temperatures in the 70s, and in the heartland of the country, we get 80s and 90s and some nice Gulf Coast moisture coming up, producing showers for that portion of the country. Here in Denver, our forecast goes like this: the precision weather today. We'll break it down by about noon. Our temperatures will be in the mid-50s. 58 is our high. Hit that about 3 o'clock. Rain showers expected throughout the afternoon. How much? About a quarter of an inch possible in northeastern Colorado. Tomorrow, Mother's Day, low 60s. The rain will continue early on, then clear out in the afternoon. It'll be in the 70s as we start back to the work week. 75 on Tuesday. It'll be a nice little rebound for us. Overnight lows through the extended period will be in the 40s. So a cloudy, cool one today. We desperately need the moisture. It won't be enough to get us out of this drought, but it is a step in the right direction, and at least we get a little change of pace around here.
Big plans today? Singing in the rain,
going to a bridal
perhaps?
shower. Bridal shower. Good morning, guys. Good morning, everybody out there. Very fine. Good morning to you. We're off to a warm start already, and later this afternoon we are looking for another record-breaking day. Yesterday, 96. Today, we'll look for low 90s once again along the Front Range. Look outside right now. Temperatures already in the upper 60s. We're not even to 8 o'clock yet, and we've got some 70-degree readings. Right now, 69 downtown. West winds 9 miles an hour. Dew point 36, 35% humidity, and the barometer is on the rise. As we get into the afternoon hours, we could see those winds getting a bit gusty at times, coming out of the southwest up to 30 miles an hour. And there is a possibility of some gusty thunderstorms in the higher elevations. Here's a look at the numbers. Currently along the Front Range, 63 in Fort Collins, down to the south Inglewood, 68 degrees right now, and a little bit further, Colorado Springs at 72. A nice start to the morning. Statewide numbers down on the plains yesterday, Lamar had 108 degrees. Today, starting their day off with 71. They'll see triple digits later this afternoon. Higher elevations are in the 50s right now in the western slope, seeing mid 60s. As far as satellite shows right now, we've got some lingering moisture out on the eastern plains. Most of it has wrapped up and pushed off across the border into Nebraska and Kansas, where many of the storms will get going later this afternoon. They've got the moisture to work with. We really don't. Our flow will be coming up from the southwest, and you can see it's dry now. We won't see much of a change, at least today. We'll be hot once again. Temperatures between 85 to the triple digits out on the eastern plains. Now the forecast shows some changes. It won't be until late Monday, but finally a cold front slipping into northeastern Colorado brings the possibility of some cooler air and some rain. But it's not going to happen today. We'll have to wait till late tomorrow into Tuesday. Temperatures today, the coolest spots will be up in the higher elevations in the mid 70s, 90 for Grand Junction, and also a mixed bag of 90s and triple digits for eastern Colorado. Lamar will be at 101 today, so they're still shaving 6-7 degrees off yesterday's highs. We'll see that warm, dry wind blowing up from the southwest, which won't allow for any moisture to get into the forecast area today, which means no chance for thunderstorms to develop. Here's the forecast for the Front Range: 89 in Fort Collins, 88 for the north in Cheyenne, 82 in Estes Park, and 80s and 90s down to the south of Denver, southeast of Denver. Our forecast close up goes like this: 92, mostly sunny start to the day, hot all day long, a little windy at times as we get into the afternoon. It's that dry, hot air. Doesn't feel too comfortable. Increasing clouds late tonight, 58 for the overnight low. And here's the 7-day outlook. Cooler tomorrow with 72. The rain gets going and it stays with us right through Tuesday, where we top off at 60 degrees. We'll go back to the 70s and 80s as we move through the work week, but it will be a rainy, wet, and much cooler start. Can you believe it? 90s today, dropping off to the 60s by Tuesday. It'll feel refreshing.
Yeah, we can use it.
And it could possibly be good enough to tie the record, and maybe a few degrees extra and we'll break it. Temperatures this morning are already in the 60s and 70s. Downtown, looking back along the Front Range, hazy, hard to see the foothills there. From our Colorado Cam network, we get this picture. Temperatures downtown nearing 80 degrees in some locations. We're there, 80 degrees right out of DIA. South wind 16 miles an hour. Dew point 33, and the humidity is low, drop down to the teens. The barometer is on the rise. Look at numbers across the city. We're right now in the 60s, 70s, and even some 80s, as you saw there from the downtown numbers. 61 in Lyman right now, 50s for both Leadville and Aspen, 60s for Eagle, and even up to the north in Hayden. Currently, statewide, our numbers are warmest over on the western slope and down on the southeastern plains. The northeastern corner, though, warming up quite rapidly, and temperatures once again could be near record breaking. A look at the fire danger. It's extreme, and that goes for statewide. The northern mountains and over on the western slope is where they're fighting the fires right now, but just about anywhere we are so dry and so warm that there is extreme fire danger. Satellite pictures showing very little moisture in the atmosphere, trying to bring some clouds in from the northwest, but it's just not happening because the atmosphere is so dry. Now we will change from the southwesterly flow that we've been seeing for the last couple of days when a front comes in tomorrow morning. It'll be coming in from the north. It is cool. It will bring with it some cooler air, but the rain will stay to the north. Instead, we will be on the warmer and drier side of the front and getting only some subtle changes, and it doesn't happen until tomorrow morning. So this afternoon, look for warm numbers once again. Mid-90s for Denver, triple digits down in Lamar. They'll be the hottest. And Glenwood Springs, where they are fighting that fire this morning, middle 80s today, winds out of the southwest and very low humidities. Skies throughout the state. Only chance we get are gusty thunderstorms, dry lightning, and winds with those. No rain in the forecast. Denver's details go like this: 95, mostly sunny today. That would tie the record set back in 1948. Overnight lows, 60 degrees, clear skies. It won't be until the morning where we see that front start to develop and move in. It'll bring some afternoon clouds with it, but we'll hold off those dry thunderstorms for Tuesday and Thursday, at least for the Front Range. Down the mountains tomorrow could see just a little bit of isolated storm development. Overnight lows will drop into the 40s and 50s.
Hopefully we'll get a few showers out of that, at least just a touch.
It would be good if we could get any kind of break. Even a shift in the winds could help them out. So we'll see how this front comes in tomorrow and what kind of break it could give those firefighters in Glenwood Springs.
All right,
Thanks,
Amy,
Amy.
thank you.
The front range also for firefighters over on the western slope in Glenwood Springs. The weather is not cooperating that much. We've got dry humidities, very low humidities, and winds coming out of the southwest, which are warm. They'll be gusty this afternoon, and so it may be even more treacherous. Relief looks like it may come tomorrow morning as a cold front sets up from the northwest. Here's a live picture from I-225 and Park Road. Cameras jumping just a bit. That means that we do have a little bit of wind out there. Winds have been coming out of the south this morning at 16 miles an hour. That's for the airport location where we currently have 80 degrees. Dew point 33, low humidity 18%. The barometer is on the rise. We've talked about extreme fire danger all morning long. We are still in the drought. For those of you who are wondering how we compare to the rest of the country, moderate drought is in light green, extreme is in orange. Over on the East Coast, they've also got the extreme drought. It looks like as we go into the month of July and August, where we typically set up for a monsoon season, perhaps things could settle down for us. But at this point, we're still in extreme drought situation. 61 for Greeley, 64 in Boulder, a little bit closer to the mountains and the higher elevations. We've got 50s and 60s, 54 right now in Aspen, 61 in Lyman out on the eastern plains, 67 for Burlington, 70 in Akron. And as you go throughout the afternoon hours, these temperatures, we're going to add about 30, even 40 degrees in some cases. Winds have been okay along the front range out to the far east. Burlington 20 miles an hour this morning, Springfield 25 miles an hour, and where they're fighting the fires, we've had sustained winds in the teens and 20s, and making for extreme fire danger statewide. Another hot, dry day won't help them much as they fight those fires. Satellite pictures showing that there's not a lot of moisture moving in, still suppressing those clouds that are trying to move in from the north. That will change, however, tonight. As a cold front pushes in from the northwest, the winds will change. They've been coming up from the southwest. They'll change around to come in from the northwest. Cooler air will start to move over northern Colorado, bring our temperatures down a bit, but the moisture stays to the north. Expect numbers today to be very similar to what we saw yesterday, perhaps tying the old record in 1948 of 95 degrees out at the airport. Triple digits down in Lamar, Burlington 96, Sterling to the north 97 degrees. Fraser, one of the cooler spots, 78 degrees, and where they're fighting that wildfire, 84 degrees. Glenwood Springs 94 in Grand Junction. Skies today, isolated gusty thunderstorms. They'll be dry with lightning, not getting much rain out of them at all, and that'll be the case over the next couple of days. Denver's forecast goes like this in detail. 95 today with mostly sunny skies. Overnight lows right at 60 degrees with mostly clear conditions until early tomorrow morning. When the front starts to come in, we'll see a little bit of more moisture. Clouds by the afternoon hours. We'll hold off on the gusty thunderstorms around here till Tuesday and Thursday. But up in the mountains, it is possible that we'll see some isolated thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Overnight lows are in the 40s, 50s, and then tonight is a mild 60. So if we hit 95 today, that will tie a record that was set back in 1948. And we've had 96-degree readings already twice this month, and we're averaging out at 86 degrees for this first part of June.
And already in the 80s this time of morning, so.
Yes, we need a break.
All right, Amy, thank you.
Well, polo players from all over the world took the field today in Littleton for the 15th annual Denver Polo Classic.
It's a competitive charity tournament that's helped the sport of polo grow. Reporter Amy Freeze was out to stomp some divots along with about 2,000 other polo spectators.
Oh, I'm loving it.
Sheila Camlett celebrated her birthday by watching her first polo match.
I compare it to hockey. Oh, I am totally into this now. I want to go to polo. I want to follow these guys all over.
Every year, this polo tournament finds new fans. It's grown from a few hundred to a few thousand, and for some, it's become a tradition.
15 years I've been coming to polo, but this is the best so far.
It's polo. You get to see some of the best players in the world. It's fast. It's something different. You don't see it every day.
And one of the great things about this sport for spectators is the field is huge. It's the equivalent of 9 football fields.
It's amazing how quickly they can stop and start out there, and it's just constant movement. There's never a dull moment in polo.
Yeah! Woo! Go Camlett Shepherd!
Spectators saw firsthand the physical contact of the horses, and Jay Camlett says it's a game he will continue to watch.
I always thought it was a sport for the upper class, but this is a sport for everybody.
Whether they were just learning about polo or seasoned veterans, everyone took part in the most familiar part of the match, stomping out the divots. Amy Freeze, 7 News.
Well, today's tournament was more about divots and horses, of course. For the 15th year, the Polo Classic funds benefited local children like those of the Colorado Christian Home. The Active 2030 group, who hosted today's match, was raised $4.5 million over the last decade for Colorado children. Great job.
That's great, yeah. Well, still ahead on 7 News at 5. Bad luck doesn't even...
Champion polo player Brad Brown joining us once again. He won last year's event. Tell us about the Polo Classic. Why is this event a good one for polo players?
Well, this one brings in more players from out of town. We have 6 or 8 Argentines, several players from Texas and Oklahoma, California, and another team from Chicago.
And the crowd's pretty good. I heard they're expecting about 1,500 today.
Yeah, the crowd's always real good at this tournament. There's 1,500 to 2,000 spectators. Yesterday there were 250.
As for polo players themselves, what kind of, is this your uniform, and what kind of equipment does a polo player use?
Well, you, in addition to what I have on, you have a helmet, sometimes a face guard, and knee pads.
Pretty dangerous sport. I read that it's second only to auto racing. Have you had many mishaps? You try to stay on the horse throughout the whole game, right?
You try to stay on. Sometimes the horses fall down. Most of the time you don't get hurt, sometimes you do.
Well, it seems like it's an exciting sport. I'm excited. I'm going to try and stay for the match today and get my first glimpse at polo, so good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Brad won last year. This is the big trophy, the Polo Classic Cup, if you will, that they give to the winners at the end of the match. Not only do they have the horse matches, but also golf cart polo. Some of the regular folks were brave enough to get on the golf carts and play during the intermissions. That's a look at the weather for now and also the Polo Classic. Once again, it's at the Polo Reserve and it starts at 10:30. The cost is $100, but it goes to benefit charity.
Amy, real quickly, where are all the horses?
They're sleeping and eating this morning. We tried to drag some of them out this morning, but no such luck. In fact, you'll have to come out here live and in person if you want to catch a glimpse of the true athletes out there on the field.
They are the celebrities. Thank you, Amy.
All right, 8:40. Your film. What's the
Actually,
phrase?
but it should probably be a pretty nice night
It'll
for
be
running.
beautiful,
Yeah?
I think. I think it'll be really nice. We're going to get a sun break in here by about mid-afternoon. There are some chances for scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms, but those should be over by the time the race gets going around 6:30, so we'll see you there. Downtown and DIA right now both at 59 degrees. Northwest winds 8 miles an hour with 83% humidity, and the barometer is on the rise. Look at the numbers across the city right now. We are in the 50s, even some 60s showing up for Metro Denver. A little bit closer into the mountains, we've got 40s and 50s. Higher elevations, Eagle, Aspen in the 50s and 60s already. Warm down on the southeastern plains for Lamar, Springfield, and Trinidad. Doppler radar showing that the showers have really pushed off to the east. Metro Denver clearing out nicely as the sun comes up. Still a band of showers over Washington County. They've got some still rain going in that area of Colorado. Northeastern portions of the state will continue to have good moisture content in the atmosphere. So later today, there's another chance for some shower development out on the eastern plains. We'll look for those thunderstorms around 3 or 4 o'clock and continuing into the early evening. Western portions of the state continue to be warm and dry throughout the afternoon hours. Here's a look at the numbers. Cooler than we've been in quite a while. Upper 70s and low 80s for northeastern Colorado, but still hot over on the western slope in the middle 90s. That's a look at the forecast. Down Denver, 78, partly cloudy with scattered thunderstorms. Overnight lows are going to be in the upper 50s with some overnight clearing. Get ready for a hot and steamy weekend. We bounce right back to the 80s and 90s over the weekend with afternoon thunderstorms possible tomorrow, actually, the first official day of summer. That's weather, now traffic. Here's Jill Aspen. Welcome back. Weather and traffic on the 7s. Good morning, everybody. Amy Freeze here. We start off with a cool, refreshing morning after the rains moved through last night. About 1/4 of an inch is what we got here in Denver. Down south in Castle Rock, they were able to get more, but it is refreshing pretty much all along the Front Range to get some clearer skies and cooler temperatures. Right now, outside temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. DIA at 59 degrees. Northwest winds 8 miles an hour. The humidity at 83%, and the barometer is on the rise. Precision weather for today. It is not going to be a bad one. In fact, temperatures just a touch below average for this time of year. We top off in the upper 70s at 78 degrees by the 3 o'clock hour. And while we will get some sun breaks in here during the midday, there's a chance for afternoon thunderstorms because of the moisture content in the air and the daytime heating. Tomorrow we warm things right back up. We'll be in the upper 80s and low 90s through the weekend. The chances for afternoon afternoon thunderstorms become more isolated as we get into the latter part of the weekend, so we enjoy the rain while it lasts. That is a look at the weather for now. Jill Aspin following the drive.
Thank you, Amy.
All right, 6:35. We're a little early for a check of your weather and traffic on the 7th, but Amy can tell us about a race. If you're a runner tonight, this might be a fun one to take part in.
This is a great one. It's to kick off the summer solstice. It's been going for about 3 years now. It's called Miles to Fight Melanoma. And so the whole purpose of the race is to raise awareness. There's free screenings out there. You can come out if you have a little mole or something you want to ask about. You can come exercise at City Park and they'll do a free screening for you. It's pretty nice. Here's the information for you. Tonight, Denver City Park, 5 to 6:30 p.m. is the registration. 6:30 is the 5K runner walk, and it's always a good race to come out and enjoy. It's one of the few that's not on a weekend, and that's because the summer solstice is tomorrow, the official start to summer, and it is to raise money for a really good cause. Yes.
And
you'll be there.
You'll be there. It'll be a little
great.
cooler, right?
It'll be a little cooler. Last year, I remember it was so hot. It was still in the upper 80s. Yeah, it was really warm. This year, we'll expect temperatures to be cooler, and that's where we are right now. It's starting off the morning with very mild conditions. 59 downtown, 59 at the airport as well. Northwest winds light, 8 miles an hour. 83% humidity, and the barometer is on the rise. Rain in the overnight hours. It felt good, didn't it? And this morning, as you wake up, the air is refreshed, cleaned out a bit. We still have some lingering showers. They're primarily in Lincoln County, skirting out past Yuma, pushing out onto the eastern plains. The good news, though, this moisture is in place for northeastern Colorado, and we can use some of it later this afternoon. The moisture mixed with the daytime heating will spark some of those familiar afternoon thunderstorms that we start to get this time of year. So northeastern Colorado in good shape for a very nice pattern today. Cooler air and the chance for thunderstorms late. Warm and dry on the western portion of the state, and really that's been the case. We won't get much relief. Middle 90s are the temperatures that we are expecting. The winds will be westerly into the afternoon hours. Down to the south, temperatures in the upper 80s. Denver's forecast in detail for you. 78 for the high. Scattered thunderstorms possible. Overnight lows in the upper 50s. We'll get some clearing, and it's right back to the hot weather for the weekend. Upper 80s on Friday, Saturday. We're at 90 with only isolated chances for afternoon thunderstorms. That's weather. Here's Jill Aspin with a look at the drive.
Thank you, Amy.
Weather and traffic on the 7s. Good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Amy Freeze here. We start off with very cool air, even some lingering showers out on the eastern plains. About a 1/4 inch of rain is what we got here in Denver. Downtown right now, 59 degrees, the same for the airport. Northwest winds 8 miles an hour. The dew point 54. Humidity at 83%. The barometer is on the rise. Precision weather for today, upper 60s by the noon hour. 78 is the forecast high for Denver. Do not rule out the rain. We have a little left in the forecast. Scattered thunderstorms are expected later this afternoon. We'll be in the 70s tonight, so enough daytime heating to fuel some extra storms, but definitely a cooler day than it's been in quite a while. Here's a look at the numbers for the Front Range. We'll get 70s in the foothills and a little bit closer to the mountains. 74 in Netherland, 75 in Evergreen, then low 80s out on the eastern plains and upper 70s right near Metro Denver. So a pretty decent day ahead for us, just a few degrees below normal for this time of year. Look at the Travelers forecast. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s on the west coast, triple digits down in Phoenix, and take a look at Salt Lake City because that's where our weather will be coming from for the weekend. 91 is what they're expecting. It is going to be a hot one. In fact, making it very quickly back to the upper 80s and low 90s for the weekend. Some scattered thunderstorms along the northern tier and out on the Atlantic seaboard, but really the moisture is blowing up in the eastern plains today, and that's what's left over from our cold front that pushed through yesterday. So that's where the storms will be today. We get the chance for some lingering scattered thunderstorms just for northeastern Colorado. Everybody else pretty much dry. That's a look at weather for now. Jill Aspin standing by. Look at your drive.
Thank you, Amy.
Yowza.
6:07. That's kind of disconcerting. I thought they were tracking all that stuff to kind of. Not that there's much you can do about it anyway, but it's like here it comes. But yeah. Okay.
A little hope for us. All right. Good morning, everybody. As far as the weather goes, we're looking for a hot, dry weekend. It's been a blessing. The little moisture that we have gotten over the last couple of days, it's allowed firefighters to make some progress. It's given us here in the city a little bit of a break. But temperatures this morning, as we wake up, are already warm in the upper 60s downtown and at DIA. South winds 14 miles an hour. The humidity at 48%. If you look at the numbers around town, Estes Park at 68 degrees already. They've been in the 40s for much of the week in the early morning hours, so a warm start for them. On the south side of town, already in the middle 70s for Castle Rock and Highlands Ranch. Higher elevations in the 50s and 60s nearly 80 in Grand Junction. It is barely 6 o'clock in the morning. Doppler radar showing the light shower activity that we got near Metro Denver down south of town, a little bit northeast of Castle Rock, and also in Teller County near Woodland Park. We were able to get some light showers. Over on the western slope, just no hope for folks over there. The atmosphere is so dry, even the moisture that was trying to push into the state yesterday just simply dried out. We are drying out over in eastern Colorado this morning. The nice cloud coverage that we had is slowly making its way out of the state and the atmosphere, preparing for a hot weekend. Midwestern moisture that we really have felt really scoots out onto the eastern plains, and the dry desert air moves in for the weekend, allowing our temperatures to go above average. We do get some isolated chances for shower, mainly in the mountain areas. Those will be dry thunderstorms, and then in the evening hours out on the eastern plains, some chances for rain. 91 in Fort Collins today, middle 90s for the southeastern plains and the western slope, 80s and 90s along the front range. A look at the weather around here for today. Noon, precision weather takes us to 80 degrees, 90 the forecast high, 83 by the 7 o'clock hour with scattered storms. Here's the 7-day outlook, 90s all the way till next Tuesday. Find a way to stay cool. That's weather. Now traffic. Here's Jill Aspen.
New feature film, Lilo and Stitch. Stay with us.
And the movie theaters may be the perfect place to stay cool this weekend. The heat is on. I'm Amy Freeze, and I'll have your forecast next.
This would be a great weekend to hit a movie theater and just sit there in the AC. Hit a few movies, maybe.
We've had 90-degree readings already this spring, but today, the first official day of summer, it really is going to feel like it around here. It'll be about 1 o'clock when the summer solstice occurs, and the first official day of summer will bring our temperatures well above normal for this time of year. Already, we're into the low 80s for parts of northeastern Colorado, a little smoky and hazy out there as well. From our Colorado Cam network, viewed looking downtown from Thornton, and you can barely see the buildings from this shot. It is going to be another hazy, smoky afternoon. Hopefully, the smoke not lowering to the surface and affecting you so much as far as breathing goes and that sort of thing. Visibility reduced we can take, but the other things are a little bit tough. 84 is the normal for this time of year, already hitting 82. We'll get well above that before we go down in the history books today. Not breaking a record, though. That's 98 degrees. Downtown, 89 right now, 82 at the airport. Southwest winds at 14 miles an hour. A look at current readings. We are warm, looking for 90 later this afternoon. Scattered storms possible. Precision weather puts us in the 70-degree range by the 10 o'clock hour. Now, here's a look at the temperatures right now. Our higher elevations were in the 60s and 70s. Middle 80s over in Grand Junction. Low to mid 80s for the southeastern plains. The moisture has really exited the state quickly this morning. We started with some good cloud coverage on the eastern portions, eastern plains, but it has exited and we are high and dry. That's how it'll be throughout the afternoon hours. That moisture that we're getting fed in from the Midwest will start to dry out very rapidly. Winds have been coming in through the southeast for the morning hours for the Hayman firefighters. They will quickly switch up and be from the south for pretty much the entire afternoon and evening hours. Scattered, isolated thunderstorms are possible, mainly in the higher elevations, the dry, gusty thunderstorms, and out on the eastern plains later tonight, the possibility of some scattered thunderstorms. 80s and 90s for northeastern Colorado, 95 down in Lamar. Over on the western slope, we'll be in the low 90s as well. Denver's forecast breaks down like this: 90 for the high, isolated storms possible. Overnight lows will be in the 60s, mild conditions overnight. And we stay in the 90s all weekend long. 50s and 60s for the overnight hours, and scattered thunderstorms. Really, we're setting up for that familiar pattern of morning sunshine, afternoon clouds building, and then we get the thunderstorms in the afternoon. But with hazy skies, don't know how much of that sun we'll be seeing. So find a way to stay cool.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. Now we're going to head over to Steve.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Weather and traffic on the 7s. Good morning, everybody. Amy Freeze here. As our morning gets going, temperatures are on the warm side here in Metro Denver. We're already in the upper 60s in many places. The planning forecast for today will take us well into the 90s, so a quick warm-up is on the way. Southerly winds coming in at 14 miles an hour right now, 48% humidity. Here's precision weather: 80 by noon, 90 by the 3 o'clock hour, and low 80s by 7 o'clock. Still a chance for scattered thunderstorms later on this evening in the forecast. But as we start off this morning, morning. It will feel mild. Just prepare for that heat later on. You might want to throw on some short sleeves and prepare for a very warm afternoon. Temperatures right now in the 60s for northeastern Colorado, with 70s over on the western slope. Grand Junction practically at 80 degrees, and it's not even 5:30 in the morning. Doppler radar, we did have some showers move through in the overnight hours. Quick movers. Heaviest rain was south of town. And good news, down in Teller County near Woodland Park, they were able to get some light shower activity. Moisture trying to get over into the western portion of the state, just not happening. We are way too hot and way too dry. Clouds are thinning this morning, so the heat up should be quick, and by the noon hour you should feel the heat. Temperatures today will be in the 90s, and we're staying that way for the extended period. Here's the 7-day outlook for you. Saturday 92, Sunday 93, and Monday 92. We won't be until the middle of next week where we start to see a little break, dropping into the middle 80s. That's weather for now. Jill Aspin standing by with a look at your drive.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, that's nothing for a trip to Cancun.
You do
Way
that?
to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to be pretty, but it's not supposed to be pretty.
No, it's not.
Anyway.
Looked like a lot of fun.
Okay, Amy's back now with a check of our forecast. So we had a little bit more rain and actually severe weather that moved through yesterday afternoon. A little bit help for firefighters.
Some heavier storms out on the eastern plains, but even down where you are, south of Denver, we were able to get some heavy rain, some lightning into the overnight hours. The heaviest rains, however, were out on the eastern plains. Just a little bit of moisture for the firefighters at the Hayman fire. Here in Metro Denver, we're planning for today to be hot and dry. 80 degrees by the noon hour. By 3 o'clock, 90, 83 by the 7 o'clock hour, and another chance for scattered thunderstorms. We'll expect these to be later on at the afternoon, evening hours. Here's Doppler radar this morning. You're wondering who got the rain. Showers move through. Even Metro Denver getting a little bit of light moisture overnight. Some in Teller County right near Woodland Park. Some showers moving through in that area too. But the severe weather that we had was quick moving out on the eastern plains. Another thing with the moisture that did move around the fire, especially near Cheeseman Reservoir, concerns over flash flooding because the rain came so quickly in those burned out areas. Once again, late today, dry thunderstorms for the higher elevations in the mountain areas and the chance for some moisture out on the eastern plains, and that will come later on in the evening hours. Here's a look at the numbers. 80s and 90s for northeastern Colorado, so we really warm up quickly. 80s for the mountains. Today's forecast breaks down like this. Denver, sunny early, then clouds move in. Isolated storms late. Overnight hours will drop down into the 60s, and those storms will end, and partly cloudy conditions. Tomorrow will be a warm day. We'll save the 7-day forecast for just a few minutes later, about 10 minutes from now. Here's Jill Aspin, though, with a look at your drive.
Thank you, Amy.
And welcome back. We are coming up on 6:27, so Amy's back now with another check of our forecast. And I guess if you like the 90s, you got a whole stretch of them ahead of you.
That's right. If you're wanting a forecast that'll put you at the pool pretty much every afternoon, then this is the one. Hot and dry for the next several days. I'm going to be sounding like a broken record after we get into the weekend and early next week. We don't see any change. 66 right now downtown, 60 at DIA. Yes, right now it's comfortable, feels good outside, but later this afternoon it will be hot and steamy once again. Precision weather, low 80s by noon, 91 expected here in Denver, middle 80s, and a slight risk of afternoon thunderstorms developing into the evening hours. And even those thunderstorms that do develop will be dry and gusty, mostly with lightning and wind. 61 currently for Fort Collins and for Greeley, 55 in Colorado Springs, low 60s down on the southeastern plains, with 40s and 50s in the higher elevations and middle 70s on the western slope. A look at the satellite picture. Very few clouds to start the day for northeastern Colorado. Few scattered clouds down on the southeastern plains, but those won't last for long. We're expecting it to be hot and dry as a ridge of high pressure, really a dome all across the Intermountain West, allows our temperatures to stay very warm and blocks out any major storms from developing. Scattered afternoon thunderstorms will be in the higher elevations and out on the extreme eastern plains. But the rule for much of the state today will be hot and dry. Here's a look at the numbers. It's 96 for Grand Junction, 94 in Glenwood Springs. Even the mountain elevations, places like Vail and Salida, into the middle to upper 80s, not much cooler than it's going to be around here. Low 90s expected for northeastern Colorado. Denver's forecast 91 for today. Overnight lows will be in the 60s with just chances of isolated storms and a big string of 90s for the extended outlook. In fact, the planning forecast for the entire weekend and early next week puts us in the low 90s for daytime highs. That's a look at weather for now. Here's traffic with Jill Aspin.
That selection.
I think any of them,
Instead
but
of the pink with aqua.
that does seem a little easier to stomach, so to speak.
Wasn't it the white M&Ms? If you found those, you won $1 million or something. White
Yeah,
M&Ms.
exactly. So
I
you
would
just
have voted
dreamed
for
about those. All right, obviously Amy's back with another check of our forecast. It's so nice waking up and that smell of rain is in the air.
I feel
so
exactly
great.
the same way. Very refreshing and hopefully cleaned out the atmosphere a little bit, especially after all the smoky days we've had around here. Temperatures are cool. It's a little bit refreshing out there as you step outdoors. Thornton Cam this morning. We've got 60 here at 7 News. Out at the airport, 59 degrees, northwest winds 8 miles an hour. Humidity at 83%. The barometer is on the rise. Here are the numbers for the metro area. We've got 50s and 60s in some places, and then the cool spots in the higher elevations like Ward at 39 and Squaw Mountain at 40 degrees. Upper 50s, low 60s will be the rule here for the next 45 minutes or so before we start to get warmed up when the sun comes up. 52 right now in Eagle. Out on the eastern plains, upper 50s as well. Grand Junction right now at 68. Doppler radar showing much of the rain is pushed off to the east of Metro Denver. In fact, right here through Lyman or Lincoln and Washington counties, you'll see the biggest band of shower activity. It'll clear out throughout the morning hours, and then this afternoon there'll be enough moisture out on the eastern plains and into northeastern Colorado to get some afternoon storms going. So the rain pushes off early, the afternoon storms come in, and we get some good daytime heating. You can expect temperatures to be in the upper 70s and low 80s. A closer look at Denver's forecast for you. 78 for the high, scattered thunderstorms expected with overnight lows in the upper 50s. Over the next couple of days, we'll see a big heat up, so enjoy this cool weather while it lasts. We'll be right back to the 90s by Saturday and Sunday, and it will last through the early part of next week. That's weather. Now traffic. Here's welcome back. Weather and traffic on the 7s. Good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Amy Freeze here. Good news. Rain in the overnight hours has cleaned out the atmosphere a bit, even provided a little relief for firefighters at the Hayman fire. Temperatures right now in downtown Denver, 60 degrees, DIA 59, northwest winds 8 miles an hour. The humidity, 83% of the barometer is on the rise. Doppler radar this morning. The showers are pushing off to the east. The heaviest rains right now in Lincoln and Washington counties. Nice band of showers continuing there. We'll get light rains, maybe even a few sprinkles through the early morning hours, but then the moisture will taper off. We'll get maybe even a sun break in here, but keep in mind this moisture is in place for northeastern Colorado. Meanwhile, western Colorado remains very dry and we'll expect warm temperatures once again. We could get some afternoon thunderstorms sparking off of this moisture in the daytime heating. We'll expect those to come back in around 3 or 4 o'clock later today. Meanwhile, winds will be coming out of the east for the firefighters today. We're still getting some cooler air around the firefighting down in Hayman, and that's good news. A forecast for today in Denver will keep us cooler than they are. Temperatures just in the upper 70s. Meanwhile, on the western portions of the state, we'll see 80s and 90s. Afternoon thunderstorms, evening thunderstorms, maybe even if you're headed out to the Rockies game, you could get a little more rain later this afternoon. Back to the 80s and 90s by the weekend and for early next week. That's weather. Now traffic. Here's Jill Aspin.
Thank you, Amy. We'll go out east.
Things work with that. If we all get our car washed, it'll rain.
Of course, absolutely.
So we should all go get our car washed.
Yes, I wish that were the recipe right now. That would be
Wouldn't that
a
be
real
nice?
blessing.
That's all we have to do, yeah.
Yes, I wish that we could put together something like that, but I don't think that's going to be the case. In fact, rain, not in the extended period, at least a good soaking rain. We might get some isolated chances for thunderstorms. And definitely no rain this morning. Look at this near Chatfield Reservoir. Come on over the TV set. You can see these guys. They didn't go back to work so early on a Monday morning, having a little fun out there. Chatfield Reservoir and the hot air balloons. A live picture, I-225 and Parker Road from our Colorado Chem Network. The camera bouncing just a little bit. Winds are out of the south. Thanks, Steve. A great day to be inside a cool cave or maybe even taking a trip to the movies to check out what's happening inside the air-conditioned theaters. Live picture for you looking over the Front Range. It's still a bit hazy, yes, but we can see the Front Range and even into the higher elevations much better than we have over the last couple of days, last week. In fact, a live picture from the Tech Center. We're looking for 90 degrees.
Tomorrow morning at 5:30, and Amy seems a little distracted. Maybe she keeps tuning into something in her ear. It's not the director. It's, yeah.
We hope we get to see our own Colorado Rapid, Pablo Mastriani. He's on the U.S. team, and so he could be one of the defensive midfielders out there. It'd be great to see him
playing tons, but you
know, but we'll hold up
cross our
hope
fingers.
for him.
You are our in-house soccer expert. It's great.
Oh, it's a great sport, and it's been a lot of fun to follow it. Around here, not a bad day to play some soccer, but you better get out there quick. We're expecting some storms later on. Temperatures right now are comfortable in the 70s, but we've seen some gusty winds out at the airport. They're blowing from the south at 26 miles an hour right now, but we've had gusts in the mid-30s. Humidity right now, 54%, and the barometer is falling. 30.25 is the reading right now. Precision weather by 3 o'clock, 78 degrees, and the possibility of some afternoon afternoon. Scattered thunderstorms by 7 o'clock, upper 60s and 63 by 10 o'clock. We won't get the big downpours that we got from the cold front, but there's humidity in the atmosphere and the daytime heating could spark some severe weather later today. 68 in Fort Collins. Down to the south, we're in the 60s and 70s already. Starting off in the higher elevations, they're warm as well in the low to mid 70s. 82 over in Grand Junction. Another hot and dry day on tap for the western portion of the state. On the northeastern corner, we're not complaining much. We at least have some humidity. Wind speeds, as I said, are picking up, especially at DIA at this hour. The storms pushed off early this morning. We're not left with a lot of shower activity, but that moisture is in place, and it will add to the recipe of thunderstorm development later on this afternoon. Northeastern Colorado is the place that will look for any severe weather to develop. The rain moved out early. The chance for more storms later this afternoon. Warm and dry conditions will be the rule for the western portions of the state. What it means for firefighters basically is the east side of the fire may get lucky and get a few more thunderstorms going. Hopefully those won't contain gusty winds. 72 for Fraser, that's the cool spot. 90 down to Lamar and over on the western slope, still contending with middle 90s for Grand Junction and Glenwood Springs, low 90s for Cortez. A closer look at the forecast for you for Denver, 78. It's going to feel cooler around here throughout the afternoon hours. Few sun breaks with partly cloudy skies expected. The storms get going and we could see them to the south and east of Denver throughout the afternoon and evening. 7-day forecast. This cool air does not last for long. We're back to the upper 80s tomorrow. 80s, 90s right through the weekend and early next week with isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon over the weekend. So all right, let's look at our forecast. Not the best of news for firefighters, but the humidities have come up. Temperatures are slightly cooler today. The only unanswered element is how severe the thunderstorms will get.
Right,
later question mark.
We know they're hoping to make a lot of progress, so cross our fingers on that one too, right?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Well, we're going to head back out to Amy Freeze. She's over at a polo match that's a charity event, and it looks like a beautiful morning to be out there. Good morning, Amy.
It really is gorgeous out here. The Sport of Kings, Denver's Polo Classic, starts off at 10:30 this morning. Yesterday, they had a couple of matches as well. What is a polo match with golf carts? It looks like this is the halftime entertainment.
It does. We have some of our members doing a little bit of a demo, but what we do is have a celebrity golf cart little match, and it just gives everybody a chance to kind of have some fun during the championship day.
And so this is in between the real polo matches.
That's right. You will get to see the real professional players today.
Players from all over the world coming, and this polo field behind us, about 7 football fields. It's huge, but what a great backdrop, the Polo Reserve.
Absolutely beautiful. They're wonderful hosts for us, and we really appreciate it every year.
You've been doing it for 15 years, and some people from here in Denver play, but also from Argentina there are players, and where else?
All over the world. They come from Europe, they come from...
Polo players from all over the world took the field today in Littleton for the 15th annual Denver Polo Classic.
It's a competitive charity tournament that's helped the sport of polo grow. Reporter Amy Freeze was out to stomp some divots along with about 2,000 other polo spectators.
Oh, I'm loving it.
Sheila Camlett celebrated her birthday by watching her first polo match.
I compare it to hockey. Oh, I am totally into this now. I want to go to polo. I want to follow these guys all over.
Every year, this polo tournament finds new fans. It's grown from a few hundred to a few thousand, and for some, it's become a tradition.
15 years I've been coming to polo, but this is the best so far.
It's polo. You get to see some of the best players in the world. It's fast. It's something different. You don't see it every day.
And one of the great things about this sport for spectators is the field is huge. It's the equivalent of 9 football fields.
It's amazing how quickly they can stop and start out there, and it's just constant movement. There's never a dull moment in polo.
Yeah! Woo! Go Camlett Shepherd!
Spectators saw firsthand the physical contact of the horses, and Jay Camlett says it's a game he will continue to watch.
I always thought it was a sport for the upper class, but this is a sport for everybody.
Whether they were just learning about polo or seasoned veterans, everyone took part in the most familiar part of the match, stomping out the divots. Amy Freeze, 7 News.
Well, today's tournament was more about divots and horses, of course. For the 15th year, the Polo Classic funds benefited local children like those of the Colorado Christian Home. The Active 2030 group, who hosted today's match, was raised $4.5 million over the last decade for Colorado children. Great job.
That's great, yeah. Well, still ahead on 7 News at 5. Bad luck.
On thedenverchannel.com.
So 9 days with 90 degrees.
It's official.
I believe it.
Saying your name just makes me feel better.
I know.
Amy
We should have a
Freeze is here to
headline,
help us.
a way to cool off.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, you know, I wish that we could say that we're going to have a major cool down in the next couple of days, but it just doesn't look like it's going to happen. A weak front is coming in. It's a good weather maker, but knock us out of the 90-degree streak? Probably not. 9 days of 90 degrees or better. We've had a couple in the mid-90s, including today at 95 degrees. That was a high a little earlier this afternoon. We've started to cool down slightly, so we'll safely call that the high. The official will come out here in about an hour. Right now, currently warm, 99 downtown, a little bit hazy too. We've had some smoke from the different fires being deposited and transported throughout the atmosphere, so it's a little hazy out there, a little steamy. You might even want to call it uncomfortable. 94 right now at DIA. East winds at 10 miles an hour, humidity at 13%, and the barometer is falling. Almanac, so far today we've hit 95. That's 10 above the normal, but not good enough for a record. 102 set back in 1990. Low this morning was low 60s, but tonight I think might be a different story. We'll be in the 70s for much of the overnight hours. It'll be maybe before dawn before we get some 60-degree readings. Here's a look at the numbers. Triple digits for Greeley. They were at 102 earlier, so that won't be their high. They got even warmer than that. 98 in Grand Junction. They've started their cool down as well. The southeastern plains, triple-digit readings for Pueblo and even Lamar. What about storms? Not much getting started. Later tonight, Morgan County's got the best instability, so that's where we could see some storms popping up on the eastern plains. Metro Denver doesn't look like it's going to happen. What's going to change our weather is the possibility in this cold front. High pressure will start to give way tonight. A few storms in the higher elevations and out on the eastern plains, but this is a weak cold front, doesn't have a lot of energy to it, and is definitely lacking in the moisture category. Very few clouds in the overnight hours. The few storms that we see popping up will end by about 10 o'clock tonight. And when that cold front comes in, it changes our daytime highs by about 4 or 5 degrees. Tomorrow, low 90s instead of the mid to upper 90s for the northeastern portions of the state. Higher elevations, pretty much the same. Middle 80s for places like Vail tomorrow, 91 in Glenwood Springs and 98 in Grand Junction. Southeastern plains, pretty much the same. Middle to upper 90s. Here's a look at your front range numbers. 83 in Estes Park, 82 in Nederland, 83 in Evergreen. That's a slight cool down from what they saw today, and 90s down on the south end of the metro area. Closer look at the Denver forecast for you. A high of 90 tomorrow, but first we get those middle 60s in the overnight hours. We'll clear out the skies, start with sunshine in the morning. Isolated storms are possible tomorrow afternoon. They will be best seen in the higher elevations. Sunrise is at 5:34 a.m. A string of 90s, so it's a small break tomorrow. I don't think we'll stay in the upper 80s. I wish we could break the streak, but it looks like we're headed in for the long haul. So hold on to your hats and find a way to stay cool. By the way, if you're keeping track, circles. Today's your day. I think tomorrow the mandatory restrictions. No, Monday.
On Monday they do start. Mandatory.
So you better start paying attention.
Know if you're a circle, square, or star.
Yeah, circles
star.
Today.
Diamond.
Star, diamond.
There you go.
You know what you are.
Gotta learn it.
Thanks.
Amy Freeze, who is hopefully putting down those paintbrushes just for a moment to bring us the weather. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, you guys. 7 Solutions building community, a full day ahead, and they're taking advantage of the cool air that we've got this morning to get a little work done. They're already started busy at work here in the Elyria neighborhood. Temperatures right now in the metro area are primarily in the 60s. We have a few readings around the 70s on the south end of town, but as the sun comes up, you can bet these numbers are going to jump up very. Before we leave, if Dave will swing the camera around, we'll show you one of the communities or homes in this community that we've already finished up. This home was painted earlier this week. A wonderful family lives in it with 6 or 7 kids, and a really beautiful job that they've done, and they certainly are enjoying the work that 7 Solutions has already provided here.
Wow, that looks really nice, Amy.
Yeah, it really does, and they've got the flowers out and everything, so it's going to be a fun afternoon, and they've got a list ready for you guys to get to work when you get here.
I'm sure they do.
Put us to work. Thanks, Amy. Time now is Ange. The games start at 8 o'clock this morning.
Amy Freeze joins us now to tell us exactly what level of sunscreen those lifeguards will need today.
Maximum protection. It would be a good day to head out to Water World or any pool where you can stay cool, because we're looking for another day of 90-degree readings. It has been a hot streak where we have 9 days consecutively of 90 degrees or better. Today, not much relief. There is a cold front that's pushing through. We'll call it a cool front because it's not actually cold. It's just a change in the air and a possible possibly bringing our temperatures down by about 5 or 6 degrees. A live picture this morning to get us started. Here's the ball of fire in the sky. A little bit of hazy conditions as we start off today. The smoke transport from some of the fires has created this. It looks like we could possibly get some clearing into the afternoon hours as it will be a breezy day. Downtown right now 67 degrees, DIA 66, southwest winds 6 miles an hour, humidity at 31%, and the barometer is on the rise. Here's the streak. If you're counting 9 days of consecutive 90-degree readings, including yesterday where we had 97, an extremely hot day for northeastern Colorado. We start off this morning with mild conditions, 70s around Metro Denver, a little better near Ward and Squaw Mountain where we've got 40s and 50s, and up into the higher elevations, Aspen and Eagle right now in the 40s. Over on the western slope and down on the southeastern plains, we're already in the 60s and 70s. We had a small disturbance, a cold front that was lingering to our north. It's dropping into the northeastern corner of the state. Won't do much for us. It's not even creating much in the form of cloud coverage or moisture. However, it will knock a few degrees off of our temperatures. We'll expect low 90s instead of the upper 90s that we saw yesterday for the northeastern portions of the state. Everybody else, pretty much a repeat. 80s for the higher elevations, extremely warm over in Grand Junction, upper 90s expected, and that's true for the southeastern plains. As for storms today, they'll be few and far between. If you're wanting to plan for them, it looks like Morgan and Elbert counties later this afternoon have the best chances on the eastern plains. Near the foothills, it'll be the northern portions of the foothills and also the Monument Ridge area. Look for afternoon thunderstorms. Here's a look at the numbers. 84 in Cheyenne, 92 for Fort Collins, 92 also for Littleton, Parker at 90, Castle Rock 91, and Greeley at 92. Foothills will be in the low to mid 80s today. Statewide, the numbers looking pretty good, but a reminder to you, this 90-degree streak, this one putting us just 1 day away from getting into the record books for consecutive 90-degree readings. Here's a look at the forecast. 91 today in Denver. Overnight lows will be in the 60s, and the 7-day outlook, it's going to be a hot one. Not much relief until about Wednesday or Thursday when we start to drop off just a little bit, but when you start to string these 90-degree readings together, it starts to feel the same. So I don't know if 91 is going to be much of a relief. We're knocking a few degrees off today, but once you get past that 90-degree mark,
it'll feel better than 97, though, I guarantee.
I hope so.
Maybe just a little bit.
This is just one record we don't want.
I know. I wish we could avoid it.
All right.
Thanks, Amy.
Weather and traffic on the 7s. Good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Amy Freeze here. We start off with very cool air, even some lingering showers out on the eastern plains. About a quarter inch of rain is what we got here in Denver. Downtown right now, 59 degrees, the same for the airport. Northwest winds 8 miles an hour. The dew point 54. Humidity at 83%. The barometer is on the rise. Precision weather for today, upper 60s by the noon hour. 78 is the forecast high for Denver. Do not rule out the rain. We have a little left in the forecast. Scattered thunderstorms are expected later this afternoon. We'll be in the 70s tonight, so enough daytime heating to fuel some extra storms, but definitely a cooler day than it's been in quite a while. Here's a look at the numbers for the Front Range. We'll get 70s in the foothills and a little bit closer to the mountains. 74 in Netherland, 75 in Evergreen, then low 80s out on the eastern plains and upper 70s right near Metro Denver. So a pretty decent day ahead for us, just a few degrees below normal for this time of year. Look at the travelers forecast. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s on the west coast, triple digits down in Phoenix, and take a look at Salt Lake City because that's where our weather will be coming from for the weekend. 91 is what they're expecting. It is going to be a hot one. In fact, making it very quickly back to the upper 80s and low 90s for the weekend. Some scattered thunderstorms along the northern tier and out on the Atlantic seaboard, but really the moisture is blowing up in the eastern plains today, and that's what's left over from our cold front that pushed through yesterday. So that's where the storms will be today. We get the chance for some lingering scattered thunderstorms just for northeastern Colorado. Everybody else pretty much dry. That's a look at weather for now. Jill Aspen standing by to look at your drive.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning. One problem up.
Can you see from here? Or should I call you Mr. Catton? You are Frank Catton, formerly of the Tropicana, the Desert Inn, and the New York State Penitentiary System.
And action. Okay. Good. Okay. One more like that.
Who says that? Dead people. That's a... Okay. Let me sit. Okay.
And lights out. Lights.
All right, crack 'em.
Got it?
You got it. Thanks for being there.
Okay, here we go.
Marker.
Stand by.
And playback.
Eddie, start eating. And action.
Linus, you're up. Be specific but not memorable. Be funny but don't make him laugh. He's got to like you and then forget you the moment you've left his sight. And for God's sake, whatever you do, don't, under any circumstances.
Ross,
Yeah,
can you take a look at this?
sure.
Okay. And action.
Doors are finished. Right here.
You ready?
Okay.
How's the game going?
Longest hour of my life.
What?
I'm running away with your wife.
Great.